Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am your e-recruiter. And as always, we are so thrilled to have you back here with us for another virtual event. Now, tonight's topic is going to be focused on aerospace engineering, exploring new horizons. So once again, a huge welcome to you. Tonight's presentation is a little bit different. If you've attended past webinars, we usually have a formal PowerPoint presentation to share with you. However, tonight we are going to just be speaking openly in more of an open dialogue, open discussion type forum. We, of course, have a full cast of all of our content experts here. You can see them here on the screen with me right now. So before we get started, let me go ahead and give you a couple of quick Zoom reminders. So if you do need to adjust your audio settings, you guys can do that down in the lower left corner of your screen. If at any time you would like to adjust the size of your window, you can do that in the upper portion under View Options. And lastly, and most importantly, we are always here to get to your questions live. Make sure that you take full advantage of that opportunity and click on the Q&A button at the bottom portion of your screen. We will be looking at those behind the scenes and actually getting to some of those at the end during a live question and answer session. We also have a special portion of tonight's event that will be reserved for a student panel discussion. Now, before we actually do get started, I do want to give you guys a quick poll. So if you can just take a moment and let us know where you are located tonight. We always love to see where our future Bobcats are watching us from. So just go ahead and drop into that poll, if you would, the city where you are located this evening. Once again, tonight's topic is aerospace engineering, and my name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. At this time, I would love to go ahead and get things started by handing it over to Professor Martini to start us with our introductions.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Ashlie Martini, and I am a professor and chair of the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department here at University of California, Merced. And it's my pleasure to be here tonight to talk to you. So we have a series of things we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, and the students are going to talk about. But first, we wanted to introduce ourselves. Again, I'm Ashlie Martini, and I'll go through and let the students introduce themselves, and then they'll come back and talk to you later. So I'll start in the order in which I see here. David?
Hello, everyone. My name is David Holler. I am a fourth year mechanical engineer here at UC Merced, but I am taking the aerospace emphasis program. I've really enjoyed both being part of all the classes here at UC Merced and also being part of a lot of the student organizations that actually cater to a lot of aerospace projects.
Thank you. Damien?
Hello, everyone. My name is Damien Contreras. I'm a second year mechanical engineering major here with the emphasis in aerospace.
Thank you. Kyra?
Hey guys, my name is Kyra Ruiz. I'm a fourth year mechanical engineer and I minor in applied math. I'm actually a transfer student. My first 2 years of college I spent in community college down in SoCal in Rancho Cucamonga.
Thank you. And Yael?
Hey everyone, my name is Yael Sagar Andujar. I'm a fifth year mechanical engineering major and applied math minor. Originally, I'm from Puerto Rico, but now I live in the LA area. So yeah, I'm happy to be here with you.
All right, thank you very much. So as you've heard from the students, they are mechanical engineers, and that is because we're talking to you in expectation of our very first year of aerospace engineering. It's a brand new program for us. So currently we have mechanical engineering with an aerospace emphasis, meaning these students are able to take some classes in aerospace engineering and get an emphasis and perhaps do research or other projects in aerospace, but not actually get a degree in aerospace engineering. But starting in the fall semester, when you all will be joining, we'll also be offering aerospace engineering. But these folks are here to tell you about their aerospace experience. Before we dive into that, I wanted to briefly just talk a little bit about aerospace engineering and the aerospace program here. So you probably know this since you're interested in aerospace engineering, but aerospace is one of the fastest growing industries in the state of California. This rapid expansion of the whole space industry and aerospace industry has been driven by increased private sector investment and also rising demand for space data, especially with advances in technology such as reusable launch vehicles and miniature satellites. So the global economy is growing at a furious pace in this industry. In the first 6 months of 2022 alone, over 1,000 spacecraft were placed into orbit. This is more than 52 years of the space age prior. So this is in a tremendous pace, and it's exciting to be part of. The economic potential of this space industry is also growing, and it's estimated to be $1 trillion by 2040. So our new aerospace engineering program, again, that's going to be brand new in the fall, is going to prepare students to design, construct, and test aircraft, missiles, and spacecraft. All right, so what does that aerospace program involve? We have four categories of classes that you're going to take. Foundational math and science, engineering fundamentals, core aerospace engineering, and then technical electives. All right, so the first is you're going to start with foundational math and science classes. These are sort of like things that you may be familiar with from what you're taking in high school, things like chemistry and physics, as well as introduction to programming. Then you're going to take a few classes in engineering fundamentals. And this includes classes like introduction to materials, statics and dynamics, circuit theory, thermodynamics, things that multiple engineering majors might want to take. Then you'll be ready to dive into the aerospace engineering classes. And this includes things like aerodynamics, flight dynamics and control, and aerospace propulsion. All of these together are complemented by what are called technical electives. And these are classes that you get to choose whatever you want to take. Upper division classes, they can be in aerospace engineering, they can be in mechanical engineering, they can be in other engineering majors, but technical electives that allow you to dive a little bit more deeply into your area of interest. The overall undergraduate program culminates in a one-year capstone design program where you'll work with a team of other undergraduate students to solve real-world engineering problems, engineering challenges, we'll call them. These teams work in collaboration with an external company or agency, again, to bring the tools that you learned through your undergraduate curriculum to bear on a real-world engineering challenge. Also, while you're an undergraduate, you may have the opportunity to work directly with a faculty member such as myself on a research project. An interesting point to note is that we here at UC Merced have a higher percentage of undergraduates working in research with undergraduates than with a faculty than any other UC in the system. This is in part because we're small, but also because we as the faculty are very connected to you as the student. Lastly, while an undergraduate student, you may become involved in various of the really strong student clubs we have here on campus. These include, for example, Society of Automotive Engineers. We have many different programs, but the one that we're going to highlight here today, because of the students that we have here to talk to you, is the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, which is the AIAA. This is one of our strongest clubs or teams on campus, and the students here are going to tell you a little bit more about what they're involved in. All right, over to you, David.
I actually have a wonderful presentation that will actually so I actually get to share some of the photos and everything else that we do. We are a student chapter of the American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics, and kind of actually giving an overview of what that means is that we are actually a great combination of both a technical and a professional organization. And so while a lot of other kind of student groups here on campus either focus entirely on projects or focus on professional development, we have a combination of both of those. And that's actually facilitated by us using our technical expertise through these projects to actually then connect you guys to companies to get you internships and to get you jobs. We are an organization that prides ourselves on being open to all. We have people come in with a bunch of experience. We have people come in with no experience. We have people of a bunch of different majors come in, but kind of primarily we do expect to be mechanical, aerospace, and computer science. But the great thing is that you're going to get to work with a quite variety of majors. So these are kind of our 5 main projects that we work on. I'll be going into each of these in greater depth. And actually, tonight we have 3 of our project managers here that are actually their experts on their respective projects. So the first project that we do is DBF. This is one of the most widely recognized competitions in aerospace, period. Almost every company has heard of this. There's a bunch of reputable companies that sponsor this event, and this is actually hosted by the AAA National Branch. Just recently, UC Merced had a record-breaking year, placing 35th among all the teams, and this beat all but 2 of the other UC campuses. So that was an incredible success. And this year, we're actually slated to compete in Arizona in April, which we're all very excited for. The second project that we have is our propulsion development and rocketry team. This team is actually split down into two projects at this point because of the scale that it's grown to. We started off with just a few members working on high power rocketry certifications. This is a kind of program where you build your own small rocket and kind of as you build up skill sets, once you get that level 1 certification, you're able to access and handle more complex and larger scale components, which allow you to build these higher levels of rockets. The first level of rockets, they're super simple. Most students, even with no prior experience, are able to build them in a month or two, while the level 3 rockets are exceedingly rare. In fact, this year, UC Merced had its first ever L3 certification, and that was Kyle, and he's one of only about 1,300 people worldwide to hold this title in rocketry. On top of our intros team, we also have the competition branch of PDR, and we actually just started this. We went to our first competition last year in Kansas, where we built a 2-stage 12-foot rocket that flew to 16,000 feet, just to give you a scale of how huge these projects are. And this year, we're actually taking it a step up, going to the largest rocketry competition in the world. And that's going to be a really incredible experience. This is going to be the most technical rocket we've ever built. There's going to be sponsors there. There's going to be companies already kind of looking for their next interns or for their next hires. So this is an incredible opportunity that you guys will get to be a part of in the coming years. Our next project is UAV, and actually we have Kyra here, who's our project manager, who will be talking about this project.
So hey guys, once again, my name is Kyra, and I'm your project manager for UAV. UAV stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicles. UAV is a research-based project, and this year we're competing in the Citrus Aviation Prize. I want to say, just for some background information, sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, the UC system is going to add air mobility to their campuses. So let's say if you want to go to Berkeley in less than an hour, you can fly there. Right now, we're creating the foundation for this. And this is what the Citrus competition is. We're creating a simulation that shows the air mobility between all the campuses. Right now, it's the northern 4 UC campuses, not counting San Francisco. But eventually, it will also include the other campuses in Southern California. We are working directly with NASA, Airbus, Citrus themselves, Embraer, and I didn't say it here, but we're also working with Archer as well. Just yesterday, I was making a progress report to these guys where they're asking questions directly to me and my team. And sometime in the next few months, I want to say late April, we're going to be going down to San Jose to present our work and competing with the other 4 UC campuses, Berkeley, Santa Cruz, and Davis, to see how they created their simulations and just to talk with experts in the field directly. Yeah, that's UAV. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you very much, Kyra. Our next project is Project Turbine, and we have our project manager, Damien, to talk about that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Damien, project manager for Project Turbine. What Project Turbine is a long-term research project oriented around building a 9.5-foot wingspan A-10 Warhawk. And it's going to be actually powered by 2 jet turbine engines. A huge benefit with being a long-term research project is that we're not rushed to complete or meet any objectives. We are allowed to set our own goals each semester or each academic year in trying to build skills and knowledge for our organization. These kinds of skills and knowledge include parametric design and CAD and professional CAD software like SolidWorks, composite manufacturing, or even doing custom in-house electronics. The project is one of the most closely related to the industry. And what that means is that we are structured in a way that we develop a lot of our leadership and skill set into something that will reflect more of having an actual industry job. Yeah, that's Project Turbine.
Thank you very much, Damien, for sharing about that. And our last project, which we just started, I'll let Yael, our project manager of CubeSat, share that.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Like I said, my name is Yael, and this semester we started our first ever satellite program here at UC Merced. This satellite, we affectionately called it BobSat. It stands for the Biomass Observation Broadband Satellite. Basically, we're going to put a small satellite in low Earth orbit to study the ground moisture about a meter under the ground using specific radio frequencies. And so we're going to be partnering with NASA, the Air Force Research Labs, the Space Dynamics Laboratory, to kind of put this entire project together. Eventually, we're going to work on submitting a proposal that will have us work even closer with NASA and these essentially aerospace giants such as SpaceX and Blue Origin to launch this satellite up into space.
Okay, thank you very much, Yael. On top of kind of all this technical work that we've been doing, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we also have a big professional side of this organization. So every year we're sponsoring students to actually go to conferences. And at these conferences, all the big companies are sending recruiters to look for interns and to look for full-time employees. Leading up to these conferences, we do resume workshops, we do interview prep, we teach you how to do an elevator pitch, how to update your LinkedIn profiles. So we actually do a bunch of different workshops to make sure that you're fully prepared to talk to these recruiters. And that has resulted in incredible success from our past members. I know that we've been sending more and more people, and that has also resulted in a huge correlation in the amount of offers and interviews we're getting. And since we're doing this every year, once you guys get here, you would be very welcome to join us in San Diego in 2025, which is going to be a really exciting opportunity. I know that this helped me, along with almost all of the other members in AAA who've been committed for a semester or even longer, end up landing an internship or full-time job. So this is something I highly recommend to all students, regardless of your past experience and regardless of kind of what your plans are, just because this will definitely jumpstart your career. On top of that, we actually take a lot of our built up knowledge and our connections from these events and bring them back to Merced. So just this past semester, we've hosted 5 seminars, and those seminars are giving an opportunity for just the general student public to meet alumni, faculty, and industry professionals, and they will actually talk about their expertise. So AAA has a huge alumni network. We have alumni at pretty much every major aerospace company, along with the national labs and some of the top grad schools. And so by inviting them here to UC Merced, it's a great way to kind of learn what life after college looks like, regardless of which direction you're planning on going. On top of that, we have some amazing faculty at UC Merced, and we've invited them to speak numerous times on their experience, both being a faculty as well as if they've done previous industry work or kind of what their research work looks like. And that kind of creates that dialogue for you guys to get involved as well. Most recently, AAA has had a huge success in actually partnering with 2 companies to invite industry professionals to come to UC Merced. So there's 2 Bay Area startups, Whisk, which is an eVTOL, kind of like a flying taxi company, and then Astra, which is a rocketry company. They sent their engineers here and they talked about kind of what life at the company looks like and kind of how their skill sets from college, one of them actually being a UC Merced alumni, helped them land that job. The last thing that we kind of do as an organization is outreach. We are partnered with a bunch of different programs, most notably or most recognizably the Girl Scouts. On top of that, we host multiple workshops for EYH. That is a program that we work with the Society for Women Engineers to host every year. And that's something where we're inspiring kind of local elementary, middle, and high schoolers to actually kind of work on projects. And then this year, we actually start a brand new program, which is Wing. And that's going to be a whole weekend where we invite a bunch of high schoolers to actually come to UC Merced, and they're going to be working on kind of miniature versions of the 4 projects that we have in AAA that have kind of legacy projects. And kind of leading into the impact of that is we've worked with over 350 K through 12 attendees directly. On top of that, there's hundreds of other that we've talked to at events like these. And that helps kind of introduce aerospace, lead the next generation, and it's a really great way for our members to give back to the community. Without any further ado, I'll hand it back to Ricky to take us to the next portion of the presentation.
Fantastic job, David, as always. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. This is our great opportunity to start the student panel, but I would also love to invite everyone to use that Q&A button to send in your questions so we can also start getting to those as well. One last thing, let's go ahead and bring back on screen all of our student panelists, and we will dive into these questions for you right now. Now, the first one we'd like to talk about is experience with design competitions. Now, Kyra, I know that you have some experience in that. Would you mind starting us off?
Yeah, sure, it's not a problem. Just to reiterate, once again, UAV is a design competition. Of course, competitions are different for everyone. Let's say DBF, Design, Build, Fly, their competition is very, very different from UAV. Our competition specifically is computational work. It might sound a little boring, given that it's computations. We're behind a computer all the time. But this is, again, the groundwork for the future of the UC system. I want to say the hardest part is really just working with a team, and all of us have very different experiences, and we're trying to put these all together. Not to mention that there's a pretty big learning curve. It's not impossible. It's just something to keep in mind that there is a learning curve behind how you have to learn what you need to learn to finish your project, and you also this is again very dependent on the Citrus Aviation Prize. We also have to do monthly progress updates with those who are sponsoring the competition as well. A lot of times we have to make sure that we are on track, making good progress towards the final product. And we have to also make sure that we're writing what we're doing. So future generations of the Citrus project could look back on us just to see where we're at, just so that they have an idea of how to proceed with the competition itself. And really just making sure that we're doing good work and making sure that we are working hard towards what we want to do, and just overall making sure that the team itself knows what they're doing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kyra. The next question I would like to toss out to Damien, and that question is going to be, what was the most valuable technical skill or skills that you've developed within the program?
I think one of the more valuable technical skills I developed is 3D printing. And the huge benefit from the 3D printing technical skill is that I am able to connect the process of design to actual production. I'm able to create a prototype, say, for a specific part of a landing gear that needs to be machined out of steel or aluminum. That's expensive and very difficult. I can 3D print a part to substitute that and actually show a prototype for it. Another thing could be also some CAD design work. Like I mentioned earlier, that is a professional software, like SolidWorks is a professional software. Again, it is something that allows me to connect design and manufacturing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that insightful response. The next question we'd like to go into, or topic I should say, is internship experiences. Now, I know that David and Yael, both of you have some experience in that area.
Yeah, for sure. I can talk about that. So both my classes and AAA projects did a wonderful job at kind of building up my skill set. And so my second year when I joined AAA, I joined in the fall, and I joined with just 2 months before the first conference. And a lot of the kind of senior members in AAA really strongly encouraged me to go to this conference, and they did a great job of preparing me in terms of making sure that my professional kind of portfolio was fully developed. And I went to this conference kind of expecting just to check it out as a second year student, and I actually managed to get multiple interviews and actually multiple offers, and I ended up doing an internship with Boeing for production engineering. That was an incredible opportunity, and at the end of that internship, they actually offered me another follow-up internship for the following summer right away. And so I did a tool and equipment engineering internship, which was also a really good opportunity. And then at the end of that summer, they offered me a full-time job almost 12 months in advance for me graduating. So in terms of ensuring that I was well prepared after my degree, as well as gaining industry experience during my degree, UC Merced and AAA did a really good job of preparing me.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of everything that David just said. Yeah, for me, it was a combination of my classes as well as my experience with AIAA. For the summer of after my third year, and also after my fourth year, so the past 2 summers, I worked at Northrop Grumman on space systems. So I was working on a satellite program. Um, I was actually working in the exact same facility where the James Webb Space Telescope was built, which was actually incredibly cool to kind of walk around the big high bays and all that stuff where, now this extremely interesting piece of equipment is out millions of miles away, looking out into deep space. And for this next summer, I'm going to be working near Cape Canaveral in Florida. Also, now this time with L3 Harris, another big space company, also working on satellite systems. And so, yeah, kind of what David said. It was, there's the classes and also the experience and the hard work that I put in through AIAA that, helped me get those opportunities. So yeah.
Fantastic. And yeah, while we still have you here on the microphone, would you mind talking about your study abroad experience as well?
Yeah, so if you guys, maybe when my camera was kind of turned off, my picture is actually in Madrid, in Spain, right outside the Real Madrid stadium, during one of the games between Barcelona and Madrid. I spent an entire year there, my entire fourth year, and it was an incredible experience. One of the big kind of caveats that many people think that a mechanical engineering student faces is the fact that study abroad opportunities might be less common or less favorable, especially when it comes to graduating on time. But for me, that was not the case at all. Through the UC system, there's actually hundreds of institutions and hundreds of programs that you can kind of partake in, and many of them offer engineering classes. Like one of the coolest classes that I took abroad that I couldn't take here was an orbital dynamics class, as well as a class where we learned about how to build and design satellites. And so, it was an incredible opportunity, and I always highly recommend if you are a mechanical engineering student and you want to go out and explore the world, you definitely don't have to pick one or the other.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And our next question has to do with research projects. So, Kyra, I think you wanted to share a bit about this area.
Yeah, I do. I'm actually a highly research-oriented person. After I get my undergraduate, I have every plan of getting my PhD. That's actually one of the reasons why I chose UC Merced. It's I'm not going to say it's easy to get a research position, but it's very nice to have direct contact with your professors. It's very easy to talk to your professors to get research. I actually have 2 research projects. One is in the applied math department, and the other that is aerospace related is drone work. I work specifically with policy and safety in drone work, making sure that people are safe, making sure that policies that currently exist in the FAA are up to date, or if they aren't, we see if there's any way that we can improve upon them. A lot of times I'm out in the field flying some drones to see if I'm doing it in a safe manner, if my environment's safe, and if there's anything that I should look out for. With this research position, I was actually, something I didn't mention is I work directly with Dr. Brandon Stark. He is my PI/boss for this project. And with this research, I was able to get another position for this summer over in UC Davis, where I'll be also working in drone work, but more specifically for data collection of animal swarming, which is incredibly cool. And I didn't expect myself to be in it. But something about research is that you don't necessarily need experience in whatever research topic itself, what that research topic is, more as it would be good if you're interested in it. And if you're interested in it, then you have a chance at going into that research.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kyra, for that. Now, we do still have a few more minutes here for the question and answer session. So once again, I'd like to invite all of our audience members, all of our viewers tonight, use that Q&A button. Go ahead and send in those questions. We have gotten to some of those behind the scenes, and we do have a few more here that I would like to toss out. The next one happens to be about the student to teacher ratio in the aerospace program. Do we have a number for that?
I guess I'll try to tackle this, but since we don't have any aerospace students, I guess it's infinity. Infinity to 1. Yeah, I guess I can't really answer that question because we don't have an aerospace program yet, but I think in mechanical engineering, it's about 20-1, I believe. So I anticipate it will be a little bit lower. We anticipate the first class of aerospace engineering majors will be smaller than ME, and then rapidly accelerating like the aerospace industry. We'll see.
Fantastic. So it's safe to say that they're going to have direct contact with their professors and TAs and all of these other people. They're going to have a pretty small group so that they will get to know each other, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
All right. Perfect. The next question, what are some minor programs which can be taken along with aerospace?
There are quite a few. I think Kyra's getting a minor, right? Do you have a,
Yes,
do you want to mention what yours is as an example?
I'm a mechanical engineering and applied math minor.
That's a possibility. So we have actually here at UC Merced, we have both minors and emphases. And they're similar. They serve similar functions. And I mentioned earlier that we have this aerospace emphasis. And what that, I didn't really get to provide too many details, but what that would involve if one was a mechanical engineer and wished to be have an aerospace emphasis, they would choose their technical electives to be aerospace classes. And the same can be done with other types of emphases. And then the minor, you take some extra classes. Actually, maybe Kyra, you're an expert. How are you achieving your minor?
It's actually pretty easy for a mechanical engineer to get a math minor because the only addition you need is somewhere between 2 to 3 classes. I forget what the exact number is, but it's just some extra math classes so that you have a better understanding of the general specifics of math that is not something you get into in mechanical.
Very good. Now, staying on that topic of math, what type of math classes are you required to take?
I guess this answer depends a little bit on what you come in with. We offer so remember when I talked about the 4 different types of classes, the beginning classes are the fundamental math classes, and which of those you take depend on what classes you have before you enter UC Merced, and so those are baseline. But then there are math classes all the way up the line that one could choose to take as a technical elective, or as in Kyra's case, to achieve a minor. So you can take the baseline classes as required, or you can be taking extra math classes all the way along the way to develop those skills.
Very good. The next question, can we offer out a couple of examples of what type of capstone projects are required?
Maybe I can toss, David, why don't you talk a little bit about
so I actually completed my capstone project this past semester. I ended up taking it a little bit early, which is something that kind of depending on what the rest of your classes look like is something I would highly recommend. It's given me a lot of flexibility with my last semester to kind of work on extracurriculars and work on research. But for my capstone project, I was working on a mechanism to automate the planting of sweet potatoes, which is very much outside the scope of my general aerospace interest. But I was working on a lot of things like how you do stress simulations for farming equipment, which is almost the same as how you do stress simulations for structures on an aircraft. I was working on how you do timing, how you do precision parts, what the manufacturing process looks like. So in terms of the capstone kind of projects that are offered, they depend very much from year to year. But one thing that I would generally say is every single project has a skill set that is extremely relevant to anything that you could encounter in the aerospace or in really any industry, but even aerospace, considering most of you guys are incoming aerospace majors. So even if you don't get an aerospace capstone project, which I believe there is a potential for that, I would definitely make sure that leverage whatever project you do have to focus on whatever skill set you can gain from it instead of necessarily what you actually end up building.
To kind of also portray my experience with capstone. So this year I am taking the first semester of capstone, and I don't know how many of you guys are from the Bay, but I am actually working directly with BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit. So kind of like if you're from other parts of California, the kind of metro system of the Bay, or one of them. And we're actually working on doing a lot of like aerodynamic analyses Our main project is basically using the wind that is generated by the BART train to produce power, using some kind of probably electric turbine. And so obviously, doing a lot of aerodynamics work and a lot of simulations, that also very, very easily can apply to doing aerodynamic simulations for aircraft, for rockets, missiles, all that kind of stuff. So, like kind of what David said, it's really about what skills you learn in your projects, that you can kind of apply to, to your industry experience or even research experience after your undergrad.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. The next question, where can I find some skills or certifications or maybe even some extra classes that I can take to help gain experience and build my portfolio?
I think I love this question because I've done all three of them and they've been super beneficial to me overall. The biggest thing is YouTube tutorials. You can learn all engineering skills from YouTube tutorials. That's something I recommend to every incoming student in AAA. Hey, we're designing an entire plane. Okay, how do you do that? Go on YouTube. Or even ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT and YouTube are great at skill building if you're looking for niche specific skills. In terms of certification, there's actually a really great program through the Department of Mechanical Engineering, but I believe it's open to the entire School of Engineering that you do certifications in CAD, which I know CAD has been referenced. For those of you guys who don't know, that is computer aided design. It's like the kind of 3D modeling. I know that in my presentation, you saw a lot of those 3D digital renders. All of those are like, I guess, digital twins to a physical system, and developing that is actually a super valuable skill. Through the certification program that UC Merced offers, I have managed to get 3 SolidWorks certifications, along with 1 other certification. And when we went to conferences and I was able to pull those to show the recruiters, they were very impressed. So that's a really great opportunity. And extra classes, UC Merced has a huge catalog of classes. There's definitely, and like, especially with the startup of the aerospace program, there's a bunch of new classes that I'm actually kind of sad that I will be missing due to the fact that I'm graduating. But on top of that, something that actually helped me make sure that I was able to focus on my major was actually transferring community college credits. That made sure that I was spending less time on the lower division classes and I was spending more time working on my core classes for my major, getting the opportunity to take additional technical electives. And right now I'm a part-time student, which means really most of my time is focused on AAA and actually working in a research lab with one of the faculty in the aerospace program. Kind of community college classes are, they're very accessible. They're often available year-round, hybrid, even online. And so if you talk to your academic advisor, that might be a very valuable route for you to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now we do have someone that's asking a general question. What is a capstone project? Can we define what that is for them?
You can tackle that one. So as I mentioned, at the end of your program, so in the last year of your program, you take 2 semesters, what's called capstone design. And this is a senior design class. And in this program, you're teamed with a group of other students. The teams are usually 4 students or maybe 5 students, and you're assigned a capstone project. The project is usually identified by an outside company. So Yael mentioned BART, the organization that identifies a real world problem or challenge and gives that to the student team to solve during their year of capstone. So the capstone project refers to the challenge identified by the external company or organization.
Fantastic. Thank you for that information here. All right, let's continue to go through these questions and see what else we have. We do have a couple of duplicates here. Let's keep going. And is the program accredited, the aerospace program, or will it be?
It will be, but obviously it's not yet, because in order to obtain, so the mechanical engineering program is ABET accredited, but to apply for ABET accreditation, you have to have run the program for a while, so then you can show the results of your program to the ABET organization. So we've gone through the process twice already for mechanical engineering. We know how to do this. Maybe I should mention this, that the aerospace major and the mechanical engineering major are going to be run through the same department. So we know how to do this. We've got the framework. We know how to go and pursue these goals. We just are not able to do that until we can actually demonstrate that we have the program.
All right. And then what year will the aerospace students be able to start taking courses?
So right away, I guess, but as I mentioned earlier, we have these four categories of classes. And they sort of course, and as I mentioned, the order in which I mentioned them is the order in which they are taken. So in the beginning, most of the classes are the foundational math and science classes, the physics, the chemistry, the foundational math. But also in that first year, there's an introductory, it's an they call it 001 class, but it's sort of like, what is aerospace engineering? What is mechanical engineering? So it's sort of a survey class, but mostly in the beginning, you're taking these foundational classes. Then in the second year, you start taking the foundational engineering classes, and those are the classes that are across the engineering majors. And then about in the third year, then you start taking, or you will be taking pure aerospace engineering classes. Again, this sort of depends on where you start, what credits you come in with, how quickly you move through the degree towards the purely aerospace engineering classes.
Perfect. All right, then we will go ahead and toss out one last question before we do start to give you a little bit of a wrap up here with some extra information. So the last question, this is open to everybody. What are the most memorable moments from the first year experience at UC Merced?
I think I can answer that one. So just last academic year, that was my first year. I would consider it a very exciting year for me, especially in my second semester, because in my second semester, I was promoted to technical lead in Project Turbine. And so that was a very exciting moment for me, just because I felt like I was getting rewarded for all the time I was putting into the project. But also with one of our other projects is with PDR, we were participating in the Argonia Cup competition. And I wasn't very active the first semester there, but the second semester is once they started getting everything off the ground, integrating the rocket, putting it together. A lot of late nights, I will say that, I won't lie about that. A lot of late weekends started going into the project. But we got to do our test launch in March, I think a week or two before spring break. And I had a really great opportunity of being very up close to this launch, because typically you have to be like 1,000 feet away, but because there was technical issues, I got to see this in person. I wish I can show you guys, but being able to see a two-stage rocket launch from 500 feet is pretty life-changing. I'm not going to lie. Those are some of my memorable experiences, by the way, for my first year.
Hey, Damien, and I'd like to open that up for any of our other panelists.
I think my biggest mistake was not being more involved in campus life my first year. I did only kind of get interested in AAA at the very end of my first year. I didn't really officially join until my second year. And same thing with research. I kind of started kind of getting interest in it, but only kind of committed to it in my second year. But I will say, kind of as soon as I did commit to both of those things, they were very good experiences. The thing that actually managed to get me to join AAA is a very close friend of mine in physics class. Like during or after one of the classes, he was like, you seem very interested in this. I would absolutely recommend showing up to this. Please join. And I should have taken that advice the first time I heard it, but I ended up joining a little bit later. And I remember kind of getting to work on my first level 1 rocket. Was, I think, one of the coolest projects that I ever worked on in terms of actually exciting me about engineering. It was something where I didn't really think, I was like, oh, I kind of anticipated I'd be going into the automotive field or naval field. I didn't really consider aerospace kind of, but like building that first rocket, it was just cardboard and some 3D printed parts and wood fins. But that made me very aware of my passion, definitely leading me down the aerospace pathway.
Thank you so much, David, Yael, or Kyra. What would you say was your most memorable in that first part of your experience here at UC Merced?
Well, I feel like my experience is a little unique. My first year was during COVID, so I was completely online. But the first year that I actually was here on campus, I think my favorite part of it was I joined AIAA that second semester when I was here, and I think my favorite part was just being around people that shared very similar interests to me. Um, during my time in high school, since you're kind of in like a general population, sometimes it can be kind of difficult to kind of connect with people, as well as you might once you get to college. When you find your group of people, you find the people that are interested in things similar to you, and you start realizing that this is kind of what you want to be doing. Or maybe it's the opposite, right? Maybe you're like, oh wow, I actually don't want to be doing this. But either way, I think it's just that experience of finding that group of people that kind of really makes you feel like you're part of a community, and kind of gives you a new home, I guess, in a sense. I think that was my favorite part about being here for my first year.
I guess I'll go next. It's a little different for me. Again, I am a transfer student, so my first year of college was actually in community college, and my third year of college was here in Merced. I want to say probably the best thing that happened to me my first year in Merced was probably being accepted into my first lab here in UC Merced. It's in the applied math department. Uh, I spent a little too much time going to office hours, talking to my PI. Just for clarification, PI is principal investigator. They're the person who is in charge of the entire project and of the lab itself. And with her support, again, I was a little too dedicated to the project. So she knew how dedicated I was, how enthusiastic I was about the project. She was able to sponsor me to go to conferences, including conferences out of state. Just a few months ago, I came to Utah to present my research, and I was able to meet so many people, so many postdoctorates, and people who are like me. And it was probably one of the best things that happened in my college experience.
Thank you so much to all of our student panelists. What a wonderful experience this has been for myself, as well as I'm sure it has been for our viewers and our audience this evening. As we start to close out here, I just again want to say a big thank you to our student panelists and then give Professor Martini an opportunity to go ahead and offer some closing words.
I'll just say thank you. Thank you all again for joining. I'm incredibly excited. I am a mechanical engineer, I admit, but I'm incredibly excited about the aerospace industry and the trajectory it's making. And I'm incredibly excited for you all to join us here at UC Merced, become aerospace engineers, and we can create the future together. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight on screen. I just have a couple of really quick reminders. We want to make sure that for all of those incoming Bobcats, all of you who have been admitted, our prospective students who are looking forward to the fall of 2025 semester, if you would like to become a part of the Bobcat family, make sure that you submit your SIR by the deadline of May 1st. And of course, if you have any questions, we're always here to help you out with that. You can look over into our chat box because we have webinars that are coming up, virtual events. We also have in-person events. So there is an admitted page there with all of our events listed, both virtual and in person. One of the most important and the biggest one that we have of our spring term is called Bobcat Day. That is happening on Saturday, April the 19th. It is a fantastic day where we have almost every employee, tons of our current Bobcats, our current students on campus, tons of tabling events. We have performances that are happening, financial aids available to ask them questions. You get to go to school presentations, speak with faculty, get to meet people in these programs, just like you have tonight here virtually online. So once again, that is Bobcat Day happening in April, but hop on over to the chat box, click on that events link so you can take a look at what's coming up. We also hit the road and we come to different regions of California, so you can also come in person and meet us at one of those wonderful events. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. We have a couple more events coming up this week as well, so make sure that you get yourself registered. We hope to see you here very soon. Have a wonderful night, everyone.